Hello everyone, I am YiMu, a Chinese teacher. From today on, I will lead you to start a new course. As we all know, Pinyin is the most important part in the primary Chinese course. For non-native students, the mystery of Pinyin determines the accuracy of the whole spoken Chinese in the later stage. There is an old saying in Chinese. If you don't accumulate small steps, you can't reach thousands of miles. And if you don't accumulate small streams, you can't form rivers and seas. Okay, let's take the first step in learning Chinese. First, let's solve the most important problem. What is pinyin? Chinese characters are different from other languages. It is an ideograph. That is to say, when you see a completely strange Chinese character, you can't infer its pronunciation from its appearance. But sometimes, you can infer the general meaning of some Chinese characters. For example, for this Chinese character, we can see that it looks more like a branch of a tree. Therefore, it can be inferred that it should be related to trees. However, we can't observe what sound it reads from the Chinese character itself. At this time, pinyin is of great use. It is used to help Chinese characters make their pronunciation. This picture is from a dictionary I cut off from the internet. We can see that the pronunciation of these words is marked in a very observed part. Of course, the next picture. This is a Chinese text for Chinese primary school students. In the lower grades, pupils also need to learn Chinese characters with the help of pinyin. As a non-native Chinese learner, at the beginning, Chinese pinyin is also content you must master. The question of what is Chinese pinyin has been solved earlier. Of course, today, when everyone has a smartphone, we can't live without mobile phones, let alone social software. As shown on the screen, although handwriting input and voice input are also very convenient, no one can avoid the pinyin input method. We have a full keyboard pinyin input method, like this, and a 9-key pinyin input method like this. And the pinyin input method we used in the computer. Let's deeply analyze the composition of pinyin. There are 3 parts in a pinyin syllable, which are the initial, final, and the term. For you, initial and final may be better understood concepts, but term is a completely strange concept. Don't worry, we will explain it in detail next. The Chinese pinyin scheme also uses Roman letters, so these letters are no strange to you. But there are more or less difference in pronunciation, so you should pay attention. Here we focus on the tone. There are 4 basic tones in Chinese, namely the first tone, the second tone, the third tone, and the fourth tone. In Chinese, 第一声、第二声、第三声、第四声。It means the first sound is flat, the second sound is raised, the third sound is turning, and the fourth sound is falling. In Chinese, 一声平，二声扬，三声拐弯，四声降。In addition to these 4 basic tones, there is a special tone called soft tone. As the name suggests, a soft voice is a light and a short tone. But this tone only appears in special cases. We will learn from specific examples later. Here, the circled part is the part we want to learn today. Don't be afraid. Just think of it as a warm-up exercise. Let's start. The first is the initial consonant to learn today. There are 8 in total, none of which is particularly difficult. Let's listen to the pronunciation of these 8 initials first. Pay attention to the shape of my mouth when you listen. Okay, let's start. 波、坡、摸、佛、的、特、呢、了。Okay, once again. 波、坡、摸、佛、的、特、呢、了。Okay, here are some key points to emphasize. First, this this sound, it is a nasal sound. Pay attention to the resonance of airflow in the nasal cavity. The following four is a lips and a tooth sound. As the name suggests, we need to use our lips and our tooth. Four. Next, notice the n and l. Their pronunciation is different. The n is a nasal sound. That is to say, when pronouncing, the airflow will resonate in your nasal cavity. Touch your nose with your finger. Let's try again. N, n. And the next one, the l is a side tone. The side tone means that the airflow comes out from both sides of your tongue when pronouncing. Let's read it again. L, l. We can distinguish them by pitching our nose. Let's listen N because the airflow vibrates in the nasal cavity. If we hold our nose, we can't make this sound. You can try. But this item, l, when you hold your nose, can be altered completely. Give it a try. L. So we must pay attention to distinguish. Then there are 3 finals. A, O, Now read these 3 sounds with me. A, O, Once again. A, O, There should be no difficulty. Next is about the 4 basic terms. We have explained them roughly just now. You just need to pay attention to hear. Take out your fingers and play with me. Like this. 一声平，二声扬，三声拐弯，四声降。The first sound is flight. The second sound is raised. The third sound is turning. And the fourth sound is falling. We'll see how to apply it in the following exams. For example, how should the example here be pronounced? As we read these examples, please take out your fingers and start up like me. Okay, let's look at the first line. Let's spell it first. Initial, final, and terms. Initial, bo, final, and the tone. 一声 means the first sound. So, bo, ba. Then next. These are just different tones. Let's try them together. Ba, 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 ba. Similarly, next, let's spell the initials, finals, and tones. First, initial p, final a, tones, the first sound. P, a, pa, pa. Okay, so the other are just different in terms. Let's read it. Pa, 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 pa. Very good. I hope you can try to spell the following 2 lines first. What is the initial? What is the final? And the tone? Let's have a look. Initial m, final a, tone, the first sound. Ma, 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 ma. Once again. Ma, 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 ma. Okay, next one. Initial f, final a, tone. The first sound. F, a, fa, 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 fa. Once again. Fa, 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 fa. Next, we disrupt their orders. try to spell it together. You can try to spell the following 2 lines by yourself. See if it's the same as I spell it out. Let's have a look. The first initial the, final a term, the first sound da. So next de, ta, ta, te, te, le, la, ne, na, ne, na, le, le. Okay, these are some syllables in Chinese pinyin. What do these syllables look like on Chinese characters? Like this word. If you see this word and don't know how to read it, look it up in the dictionary at this time. This pronunciation is marked in the dictionary. How should we read it? Well, let's try it together. Bo, bo, bo. Bo. Once again. Bo. Okay, next. Po, po, po. Mo, mo, mo. Fo, fo, fo. Very good. Okay, let's try to read it by ourselves. What is the initial, final, and term? L, a, la, la. N, a, na, na. N, a, na, na. L, l, l. The 8 initials and the 3 finals we learned today. I hope you can practice more by yourself. Today, we solved the problem of what is Chinese pinyin. At the same time, I also talked about the pronunciation of initials, finals, and terms. Well, tomorrow we will study these carefully together. Why don't we talk about this in the next class? Because of these contents, it is more difficult. For some Chinese now, it is difficult to distinguish them. So we will learn these contents in a later class. That's all for today's class. Thank you. I'll see you next class.